I'm Lisa, and you're with Velo Dulce, the show where we talk women, cycling, and life. Velo Dulce is from the Italian phrase La vita dolce, which means the good life. These are stories from women around the world on finding the good life through life on a bicycle. Okay, so my superhuman guest today is Hannele Steyn. Hannele lives in Cape Town, South Africa, my home country. She is the former sport and wellness advisor of the Intercare Group. She runs her own Whole Foods company, Passion for Wholeness. She's represented South Africa and has Springbok colors in biathlon, triathlon, duathlon, road cycling, and mountain biking. Her list of achievements is too long to comprehend, never mind to tell you all about it. I'd have to spend more than half an hour just sharing everything she's done. I actually got goosebumps reading her CV. She has completed the infamous TransAlps Ironman. She is also one of 4 people in the world to have completed all 17 Cape Epic races, and the only woman. Incidentally, she won the race in 2005. And in case you thought Hannele was only a pretty face and a sports person, well, she has a BSc Microbiology Genetics, a Diploma in Nutrition, a Diploma in Marketing, and a Diploma in Triathlon Coaching. Welcome, Hannele.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much. And I see that actually I just have to, the rest isn't that true, but the one thing, no, I'm joking. It's been 18 epics now. I think I forgot to update. And unfortunately, very sad for us. We called the 4 lions that's left. I'm the only woman, but unfortunately, one guy has fallen out this year.
Wow.
So it's now myself and two men.
Wow.
So it because we've become friends throughout the year. So it was quite sad too. Yeah, although we're vying for the last one, we're still sad when someone drops out.
Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible. So before we get to the epic, sure, where to even start? Because your list of accomplishments is so long. I want to start a little bit with some context. So give us the short kind of like summary of where you grew up and what inspired you, because I see a lot of threads. I see sport, I see nutrition, so like, where did it come from?
Okay. The reason why the list is so long is because I'm so old.
No.
So, Lisa, yes. Now, I was actually born very near the Kalahari Desert. That I'm very proud of because it's such a part of our country's, the whole history. But we moved to a farm in George. That's beautiful, the garden route. And that's where I finished my school. And then I went to Bloemfontein University. And then I started to work in the Cape town. And then I was very fortunate. And I'll just give you a quick thing how I got into triathlon as such. But I've always wanted to do sport since I was, even before school, I just wanted to do sport. And I tried to take part in every single sport in school from, grade 1. And unfortunately, I was the slowest. I went to do gymnastics and they asked me to never come back.
Really?
And I tried to play tennis. My ball set wasn't so good. But then in high school, I was invited to come to the run and the swims training. And you know what? I was still not the fastest. But one thing that I realized there, and I think that was the start of my career, was I realized that I can actually withstand the pain longer than the other people. So I just realized that the more pain and the longer it carried on, I was the last woman standing. And I think that is just what sort of motivated me, that I saw, but this is what I've always wanted to do sport, and this is my thing. I can actually do this. So that's where my sport career, I would say, started with biathlon and stuff. And then I was introduced at university to triathlon, and came to Cape Town, and I was invited to a duathlon race in Johannesburg, and that was still before our country, it was still in 1993, I think, or 92. And it was the first international competition we had. And I was just very fortunate to win it. And then I got invited to my first international triathlon overseas. And I remember the president of Triathlon Union asked me, would you like to become a pro? And I said to him, of course, that's my dream. And he said, but are you willing to give up everything? I tell you, I didn't even think twice. I just said, I'm ready to, go away from work, put in my resignation, pack my things, sell everything I have and go. And, it was strange because you start to ask people when reality sets in, do you think I must do this? And obviously, everyone is first very excited, and then they say, yeah, I don't know, because back then there was no profession, not even professional rugby players. And you know what? I just decided I want no regrets. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it, give it a try, and I've never looked back. I had a wonderful, wonderful life of sport that I loved, still love, and I really love to be competitive. And I must, so many things that I've seen and learned was through this opportunity of my sport, because I saw the world basically traveling to races. I learned so much from other people, other cultures. I learned so much from sport about, being professional is not always so easy, being a professional in anything. And people always think when you do sport, oh, you're so lucky you're a professional, but it comes with other territories, and your body is your business. And that's where my love for nutrition came in, because I studied, as you saw, I studied the genetics and microbiology, but when I was starting to race as a pro, my base was in the States for about 3 years, and then France, south of France. I realized just how important nutrition was to keep your body going, to keep your body healthy. And that is where it started. And I think when I then, and I'm just jumping a lot of years, when I decided to stop being competitive, and that was already after triathlon, after mountain biking. This was in 2011. I sort of started to think of not, realizing that I'm also getting older, and I have to start focusing a bit more on my business. But that's when I really decided, well, then I'm gonna pursue my other passion. I know I will never, for as long as I physically can, stop exercising, training. But I must say the one thing that has changed is definitely that wanting to take the pain the longest. I will still sustain it if I have to, but I think that, that passion I had back then to just, push myself into all of those hurt boxes, I think that has now made place for enjoying it more.
That's very interesting. It's funny. I was actually having a chat with the guys I ride with yesterday. And we were talking about, is cycling fun? Like we were talking, I don't know, we were talking about, I'm actually preparing for a race here. And I said I was suffering up the hill with some girls on Sunday, and they were like, well, that's how it is. Cycling is suffering. And I was like, but does it have to be that way? And they said, yes, that is the sport. You have to suffer, and that's just the way it is. And I was like, that's interesting. I'm going to ask you that today. Is how are you enjoying cycling?
Yes, I would say, look, and I always say to people that I help with training programs and stuff when they do a race, and I always also say, when you go to a race, you must remember you are racing. And the difference between racing and training and just riding or running, whatever you do, is the fact that you've entered, you've paid for it, you've trained for it. So when someone said to me, I'm just going to do it for fun, I always say, well, go ride for fun. Don't race I don't want to take away the fact that a race can be fun, but a race should be where you give your best. Doesn't matter. Don't look around to the other person. If you finish a race and you've given your best, I promise you, that is the feeling we get addicted to. If you finish the race and you didn't give your best, you will not feel good. It's just how it is. And that is why we suffer, because we want to feel that feeling. We are addicted to that feeling of after the push and after the pain. So yes, even the front guy, I would say, just think of that guy that's winning. It's not easy for him. He is really suffering, just as you in the back, maybe on the middle of the pack. So yes, you don't always have to, I don't want to say you have to suffer when you exercise. It depends on what your goal is. But I always say, as long as at the race, whether you've taken a lot of pain in the training or a little bit of pain, the more you take the pain, the more you make friends with pain, and like the easier the racing becomes, the easier it is to push yourself. But I can promise you this much, and I'll always say this: if you don't give your best, like if you hold back, I always say to people, if you hold back, you're not going to feel that satisfaction. And I think that's what we're all after. We really actually are craving that, the endorphins of satisfaction.
So just listening to your story, it sounds to me like you've taken like the love of pain, and probably, I mean, you've put that into your business now. So it's probably not that you are suffering less, it's just that you are pushing in different areas of your life. Yeah. Now, I must confess that I have interviewed a lot of people on the show, from pros all around the world. And the strangest thing is that I was most nervous to chat to you because...
Oh, wow. I'm sorry, Lisa.
No, don't be. And I was like, what is it about you that you are so formidable? Like, you're this formidable force. What is it that you have? Like, you know, is it the never say die? Like, what is it?
I think I've realized what it is when we talk about the power of the mind. And that's a little bit part of that nutrition, healthy body. You know, my business and my company's name is way too long. I know it now, but unfortunately I gave it on an emotion of the passion of wholeness, to be whole. And to be whole is mind, body, soul, spirit, you know, all of those. And I've realized that when we say power of our mind, and, you know, we use it very quickly, you know, to have that power of your mind to pursue things, to do things, to hang in there. But, you know, the power of your mind is the ability, because your body will never do anything that your mind doesn't tell it to. So if you can use it, power of the mind doesn't always mean you have to have this extremely strong mind and stronger than everyone else. It's the ability of teaching and telling and believing that your body can do this. Like if you keep on chasing a dream or working towards a goal, whether it's in your business or your sport, if you don't believe it, your body will not do it. So that's where visualization and everything else comes in. And it's not arrogance. It's an inner belief. And you don't even have to say it, but you have to believe it. Every day you go out there and train, you know, you must believe that I'm training to do it. You must believe that I can sustain the pain. I think it's I've many races. I mean, I suffer and then I look at the other person. I think if that moment you decide I cannot, that I always say cannot is not a word, or can't is not a word. The moment you say it, when your mind hears it, believes it, your body will exactly do that. And that's why after a race, we are so dead tired. But if the race had to carry on for another day, I always say if it was one day longer, we would have done it. But believe me, if you ask me the day after, if we go out and do a stage, I don't think I can do it because I've decided already in my mind,
Right.
it's over. So I think it's about a inner happiness. And I don't say I'm always happy. I mean, there's many trials and tribulations and sadness, and life throws everything at us. But if you can just constantly work on that spiritual inner happiness, and I don't want to go into all meditations and everything. It's just a happiness of when you look around. And I love cliches. I always say to people, cliches are amazing because they're true.
Right.
Convention, I hate convention. But, cliches are, if you say to someone, oh, you must just look around you and be grateful. That's like a cliche, but it's true. Where conventions says we have to, you have to worry about this and worry about that. And you have to. Worry about things, but not so much so that you forget to work constantly on that inner thing, that inner dream, that belief, that absolute belief. I think I sometimes believe it too much.
Wow. So you and I think must meet somewhere in the middle, because it's funny, I've been thinking a lot lately, like, what is the most important skill anyone needs in life? And for me, it's resilience. Like, no matter what happens, you got to get back up. Like, doesn't matter what happens. So one of the skills that I'm proud of in my life is resilience, but I never have the belief. So it's interesting. Like, how do you get that?
And I think, again, when I listened to your podcast and I was thinking, she's gone to London, she's gone there, she's gone to Spain. It's like, it's amazing. You're a woman on your own and you're doing this and you don't even know it, but you actually believe it because you are doing it. And to take that chance that not a lot of people take, it's easy to say, I want to go to Spain or I want to go do this, but to do it takes a lot of guts. So I think it's basically, no one has ever told us life's going to be easy. No one said that. But life doesn't have to be, there's difficult and good times. But if you believe that, let me say this, I believe you do things from a place of love. And that's also a cliche, but very true again. Mm. And if you do things from a place of love, that means you're honest with yourself, because then you won't hurt someone intentionally. If you do things from a place of love, life won't just go smooth sailing. But you know what? The other side will always be better, because you cannot hurt, you cannot take advantage of people or things if you do it out of love. And then when you've gotten through that bad stage or the, disappointing or sad phase, you'll get out the other side better. So that is just, we all say it, we just have to believe that love is basically the greatest thing. Self-love, love for other people. And I'm, again, not talking about arrogance. I mean, it's not at all that type of thing. It's just to, and it's not something you decide and then it happens. You have to sort of work at it every day.
It's practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like training. So
it's like training.
So let's talk about nutrition, because here I am not sure that we will meet in the middle. So let me tell you my experience. So I wrote a book called Carbs, Curves, and Everything in Between, which I actually guess is a little bit of what you're saying. So I have never believed, like, I was actually 25 kilos heavier than I am now. And that was in the days that I was training for half Ironman. So it wasn't like I was not training, but I definitely had some food issues. And then I wrote this book, and how I lost the weight is like, I kept trying to like go on diets, and that would never work for me because it would just mess with my mind. And so what I decided is that I read this woman's book, Janine Roth, and I decided, she wrote this book called When You Eat at the Refrigerator, Pull Up a Chair. And I decided you can eat whatever you want at any time. And that's the only rule, because that was the only thing that would work for me. The minute I put like a boundary in place, like no sugar or it would just mess with my mind, and then I would end up like binging. And so I wrote this book, and I'm super interested in like nutrition. And lately I've been realizing, okay, that's great. And I mean, when I moved to Spain, I literally, for 1 year of my life, I lived on pastries and coffee. I used to cycle from one coffee shop to the other.
Ooh, that's the best.
But I realized I need to fuel my body too. And so what I did is that instead of like putting a rule in place of, okay, no carbs or whatever, I started looking to add things in, like add in vegetables, like add in supplements. So that's kind of, yeah, I mean, nutrition is an exploration for all of us, but where does your philosophy from nutrition come from, and what prompted the start of your business?
I think a big part of my knowledge and the way I believe comes from actually one of my sponsors that's been one of my longest sponsors that's been backing me up, and I worked for them, is PVM Nutritional Sciences. I did my diploma through them, and so sort of they laid the foundation for my research and what I believe about nutrition today. But I always say, science as your base, logic as your lead. Because science is one thing, and it's the important thing. That's where things are. That's the foundation. But logic is what happens in practice. And sometimes there's different things, the weather, the genetics, there's a lot of other things that plays a role. So you must think logically about things. So I realized, but when I was young and when I was a kid, and that's very long ago, and even before your time, was when people just, there was no such thing than a diet. It was food.
Right.
We weren't spoiled with so many rules and foods and options. So we ate food, and food back then was balanced eating. And people love it when I say that, because they say, oh, balanced eating, so that means everything in moderation. Not at all. That's not balanced eating. And people, if there's diets, if there's a diet that works, there will be no more diets people are looking for. Every good diet has truth in it based on the basics of balanced eating. But they take one part and we all follow that. And like, banting, and then keto, and then vegetarian, and then this. And balanced eating is we were created as omnivores, meaning we eat proteins and vegetables. And it doesn't mean you can't be a vegetarian. It just means you have to eat plant proteins. But balanced eating to me is the correct amount of the three major food groups every day according to your body weight and what you do. So it's proteins, it's carbohydrates, and it's fats. And now it's, and again, people must, if you say carbohydrates, I don't mean the cakes and the tarts and the pasties and natas or whatever. The real carbs from the earth. And I know people say, yeah, but root vegetables are too starchy. And I still say everything natural is better than anything man-made. If you want to start cutting things out of your diet, start by cutting man-made out. If people sit with a muffin and they go like, well, my blood group says I can't eat broccoli, but they're eating a muffin. So proteins is your animal products, your vegetable proteins, your carbs, your fruits, your veggies, your natural starch from the veggies. You need to cut back in the sense of their moderation comes in how much of that you eat. And then your fats is your essential fats, because what is man-made? All the bad fats. Why does things taste so nice? Because people has invented a fat that they actually name vegetable fat. So everyone thinks, oh wow, vegetable fat, that's so healthy. A vegetable does not even have fat. A seed has fat, even fruit has fat, but no vegetable. And you can go look, carrots, peas, spinach, there's no fat in the vegetable. So if it says vegetable fat, that's a man-made fat to give flavor to food, to make food texture nice. It's a cheaper fat than your good fat. So if people can just realized that today, that still, no matter what diet, if you want to go on a bit of a higher protein or lower this, or you want to cut out from your starches, but cut out first manually. Start by that. And then you start thinking, okay, so this is how much protein I should eat for my weight and my exercise, or my, energy that I put out, or training. And then this is how much carbs I need, but I can get it from the good carbs. You don't necessarily have to get it from the starchy carb. And then you need your essential fats. Lisa, I'm so passionate about nutrition. I can talk an hour and a half here. But people, I always say to people, I wanted to enjoy eating, because I used to love eating, and all of a sudden, you hit sort of varsity and stuff, and you start dieting, eating an apple a day and picking up, and then this, and then sport, and always had to lose weight. And I decided, but why is it so hard that I train so hard, like you said, and you have to diet to lose weight, to be, your power to weight must go up,
right?
That's what I should be. I want to enjoy eating, and that's where my first product started, because people say to me, yeah, but Hannele, you say you must eat balanced in the morning. We don't have time to go and make eggs and this and that. And I started to think, so what is a quick balanced meal? And that's why my strap line of every ingredient has a reason came from. And I decided, well, a muesli has got a low glycemic carb in it, your rolled oats. It's got your fat and protein in your nuts and your seeds. The cinnamon is for taste and blood sugar. And, that's and then your quick carb is your cranberry, and that's a balanced meal. And that's how, that's how it all started.
And when...
But my taking is balance is not everything in moderation.
Right. That's interesting.
And there is guidelines, how much proteins we need to eat. And I always say to people, at the moment, it's between 1 gram to 3 grams protein per kilogram body weight per day. And then people start to feel very good, because they say, well, I had a 200-gram piece of steak, but a 200-gram piece of steak contains about 35 grams of protein.
Right.
And if you're in the middle as an endurance athlete, and you can take this today, that's my last thing that I'll say out of the passion, is if we as endurance athletes, if we take it on an average of 2 grams of protein per kilogram body weight, and you weigh, say, 60 kilograms, you need 120 grams of protein a day. That's 12 eggs. That's about 12 eggs.
Wow.
And if you don't eat that, then you're not eating balance, because then you will just crave for sweets. And the more sweet things you crave, the more you will eat.
That's very interesting.
The more you
Maybe that's
but you and I can talk about that one.
Maybe that's why I've been eating so many pastries.
Exactly, one pastry lead to another pastry.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It's true. So now, when did you start the business?
Basically in 2011, I'd say, when I was starting to realize, listen, that passion of really, my whole life was just about training hard and winning. I wanted to be the best, and very selfish. One big lesson I've learned is and I'm trying to really learn from that. But I know, and people also say you need to be selfish to get where you want to be, but you don't need to be ugly selfish. You don't need to be so focused on yourself, like you said, you lose that thing of doing it from a place of love. But for me, it was just a pure focus on, I want to be the best. And I would have trained from morning to night to do that. And nothing else came in that way. And I'm sure it was a good thing. But when I started, but I always said, if the passion is not there, if it's not in my heart, because that's the motivation. People say to me, how do you get up every morning to train? Because you set a goal and that's your motivation. It's like brushing your teeth. It must become a routine that motivates you for something. To brush your teeth is a routine. Why? To clean your teeth, but it's to keep your teeth in good condition.
Right.
Now my routine is to get up and train, because I like to keep my body in a good condition. So I was completely fanatical, Lisa. I was fanatical. And when I realized that love of pushing myself to the absolute limit, that's not really there anymore. And I remember a reporter asked me one day, why do you love winning so much? And I said, you know what, I just cannot start getting that passionate about coming second. And that was the answer. And I moved on. I thought, that's how I was. I was just so focused. And I'm still very, I don't want to say high strung. I want to say more A-type, like,
yeah,
I can focus actually. Maybe sometimes I focus too much on only one thing. That thing of women can do more than one thing at a time. I don't think I fall in that category.
That's amazing.
But yeah, the business started in 2011 in my kitchen, making about 15 kilos at a time.
Wow.
And I'm very proud to say today I've got manufacturers doing it, and it's selling in shops and online. And it was, again, just a journey that wasn't important in the beginning to me. It was more just to give people good food to eat. And then, like everything else, I was just not happy to have it just being sort of average.
I can relate. I get very frustrated at doing things averagely.
But you must be proud of that, because it is actually, I always say to people when they say, you must just be like a normal person. I said, normal is so boring.
Right.
It's so boring.
So there's one thing that you said that I just want to pause on is, and I think this is another critical skill and very hard, is to be honest with yourself about where you are.
Very.
It's
that's why, sorry.
No, carry on.
No, that's why I say, if someone always asks, they say, what is your ultimate sort of personality things that you like in people, or you would like? I always say, my strive every day is to have integrity, to work on that, because if you have integrity, you cannot lie to yourself, meaning you have to be honest with yourself. And that's a difficult thing.
It is.
But if you're honest with yourself, you will not be able to lie to other people. Because if you cannot lie to yourself, and that's why if you can lie to yourself, you have the world as your oyster, basically, because you won't feel a thing. That's why they say in court, if you can lie in court, you'll be the free person.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, true. The other thing you said, which I'm sure, we haven't spoken before, but I'm not sure that there are people who will agree with you on being selfish. In fact, the other day on social media, I saw you are involved in some community project around safety. What is that?
It's actually a few things. I always, another reason for my company, in a way, is I always said and it again sounds so, I don't want to say it like it seems like I'm this charity person, but I hate to see people being hungry kids. And I always say, I would like to build my company to a place where I'm able to, in a small way, just to give to, if it's one person, if it's 10 people, if it's a school, if it's a community, to give food, but proper food, not just, and I know something is better than nothing, because normally when
sure.
food gets donated, it's normally a low quality food. So that's still good, because at least it fills some tummies, but I would like to give people good balanced food. So that is like a one of the reasons. And then the security thing came from a company that approached me, and because it's I don't know if in Europe or where you live, but in South Africa it's becoming quite a thing where the cyclists and the runners get attacked and bikes get stolen, watches, cell phones, that sort of thing. And I don't want to be scared when I train. It's so sad, because we've got this most beautiful country, and then now even on the mountain bikes, it's becoming dangerous. So this company approached me to get involved, and they are a protection services company, and to get involved to help cyclists, runners, hikers to come up with ways where they can put in place something that we can use as a security device,
Sure.
not just a phone app, but more than that. And so, yeah, I'm working with them, GSU, because they are really out to not just have security, but to have a protection service.
Right.
And I think that's becoming very, very important. So we're working on something that will really be something you can use to protect yourself, whether it's a small little device that they're going to make that you can wear and then promote it amongst people, and then also give it to make it so affordable that everyone can actually have it.
What is the name of the company?
It's TSU Protection Services.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, and I love it when, when people realize, like, almost see the bigger picture and not just, we're all looking to giving to all the big companies, and that's a good thing. But there's some personalized help and just to get involved, because, like I said, I when you talked about the selfish, there's nothing wrong to be selfish. We are all selfish. You have to be selfish. But like I said, to be able to help someone, and to be able to inspire people, I think that is, because the reward is just so big. It's like the same feeling when you cross the finish line. That satisfaction that I talked about, the reward of just to see someone being happy or grateful and something you've done. It's actually, that's a selfish good feeling, but it's a good selfish good feeling.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely. And that's amazing. That's phenomenal that you're working on that project. And thank you for that.
And this year's, I don't know if you've seen the She Untamed campaign. That was a campaign that APSA started just before the pandemic.
Yes.
And and that, I tell you, Lisa, I'm so excited and proud to be part of this. For me, APSA will never realize, and EPIC, what they've done to invite me to be part of this, because it's to empower women in the sense to believe, because, I mean, we have to say it. I mean, woman comes from where you get married and you have kids. That's your first priority. And then you stop believing that you can now go out and ride on a mountain bike, and fall off a mountain bike and get dirty. I mean, you're this woman, lady, whatever. And I think the She Untamed campaign is to just prove to women and the world that you can be the lady of ladies. I mean, if you look at Letsecho and Pato and all of them, that the most beautiful nails and the most beautiful faces, and they are so feminine and beautiful women, but believe me, tough. I tell you,
proper tough.
And to show people that if you want it, you can do it, no matter what age, what color, what culture, what sex, you can do it. And for me to be part of that She Untamed campaign I'm so proud. And I really, really hope that is the way I can put back into mountain biking as such.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. I sometimes think I have the show I'm so lucky to be inspired by all the women I chat to. And
two things, are part of
thank you. Two things that have really stood out for me in the last, say, 2 years. I've spoken about him on the show before, but I have a Mikey who I cycle with here in one of my groups, and he is 84 years old. And if I tell you he kicks my butt, like, I'm not even joking. There are days where I am just like trying to stay on his wheel. I mean, there's no way. I have never once descended like he descends on a bike. It is phenomenal. And, we always joke and we laugh, and we last year we went on a trip, and this year we're going on a 4-day trip, and we ride proper proper passes. And he is just phenomenal. And I've really kind of re-looked at what is possible based on age or gender or any kind of pre-perceived limitation. It really blows my mind. So you,
but you know,
you just a spring chicken. I'm sorry to tell you, but
sure, I can be proud of them being so old and still taking part. No, but you know, that's such an inspiration, and that's why I say, well, you know what? I always say to people, the one excuse we have is that I blame everything now on hormones. If something goes wrong, I say, it's the hormones. You know, if I said today, it's the hormones. But you know what? Even that, that's why I say to people, I try and be the best 56-year-old I can be this day. And it takes a little bit harder work, but I want to be I don't have to be better than the 25-year-old. I want to be the best 56-year-old that I can be. So every person should just go out there and be the best you can, and that's your victory. So never stop trying. And you know, if you think 18 years of the epic, that's a lifetime. I'm sometimes thinking, think back to
that's crazy.
I was so young, and I look at pictures and I think, oh my son, look how nice and young. And you know, going through what it used to be like, the little tents and the no food and the 26 inches to what we have now, and spoiled, and it's going to grow even into more. And you know, also throughout your life, like you said, this guy that you train with, embrace it. Because if I tell you, throughout this 18 years, actually throughout the 40 years of my sporting life, 43 years, I can tell you now, yes, it's you, but you need everyone in your journey. If you have family that back you up, if you had friends, if you had cycling buddies, if you have coaches, for me, I can never not say thank you to sponsors that believed in me and gave me the opportunity and helped me. And, you know, the difficult thing is, one day, you know, when I was still young and you were trying to get all the sponsors because you can't afford all the things, I will never get, and I've got a picture where I've got a triathlon costume. And I had printed on a piece of fabric all the sponsors' names, because I didn't know how to give everyone, you know, the coverage. So I put everything I stitched on. And I looked like a Christmas tree. And I do. But I was trying, you know, you try and make everyone happy. And so, and every time you have like an interview or something, or like even for a magazine, you're not allowed to mention them. And you're not allowed to say, mention your business. That's why I say to people like you also to support as a woman, to support us women, to give us this opportunity to talk about also like my company, like people influencing our lives, like, you know,
it's important. It's important.
You inspire me because of the woman you are and what you're doing, and really it's amazing. Thank you so much for not having these rules and just have honest podcast conversation.
Thank you. So now I feel like I could talk to you for days. I would say we should go for a ride, but there would be no way in hell I could stay with you. So I'm going to end on two questions. I mean, you've spoken a lot about the epic, so I didn't want to focus too much on it today. Just like give us one reason, what is so special about that race?
I've tried to answer that to many people that's also asked me. And, you know, I've done so many other races, and I've really done, if I must tell you, the Freedom Challenge and the Manga was, to me, taking me to places where it's like really insane. And yeah, but you know, the epic tests you in so many ways. Like every time I go back, I think, why is this race so tough? And I think the terrain is one thing, the weather is another thing, but I mean, you can find that everywhere. I think it's the 8 days and the stages. And I think for me, obviously it's become this big challenge, but it's to stay focused for 8 days, to stay healthy for 8 days, stay healthy for 18 years. And I've also been sick in the epic. I've also had mechanicals. I've also had falls. But it's to get up from every one of that and to, at the end of the 8 days, say, I've endured 8 days of this race. So it's to endure every time 8 days is not so easy. Maybe you'll go do a race one or other time that's 10 days and you do it, or 4 days or 3 days, or one extreme thing, or like the manga or the freedom challenge, that's day after day after day. But this is 8 days where you have to finish every day in a certain time. You have to finish the same course than everyone. You have to be disciplined to follow the rules, everything. It's not just riding the bike. There's so many mental stresses, mental issues, focuses, pushing yourself to pain when your teammates may be not feeling good, or you're not feeling good, and there's someone else you need to think of. So it comes with more than just a race where you ride your bike and you finish. I think the epic throws at you that 8 days, which is a long time to stay healthy, focused, happy, full of energy. It's a teammate. It's a lot of discipline you have to, and organization you have to do. And then, like I said, the terrain and the weather can throw pretty hard things at you.
Yeah.
And I think that is what's so special to finish it. And you train literally. I think it's become the last 10 years, it's become my training every year. After the epic, I take a break and I start training for the epic.
Right.
Before that, there's a lot of other races. And I think for most people that do the epic, they always say, okay, people say at least 5 months. So it's that time of your life you sacrifice. It's like the Ironman, that you put in the effort. It's the cost. It's everything. It's the sacrifice with your family, your friends. So I'm not saying other races do not have it, but the epic is the 8 days where you have to continuously get up and motivate yourself and sustain, and know tomorrow it's going to be exactly the same.
Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. So
I want to answer on that.
Incredible. The last question I want to ask, you've said belief, you've said resilience. To me, you are the epitome of resilience and fortitude, and even faith. What is do you have a secret to, is it something, do you manage your time better than other people? Do you not waste time doing other things? What is give us the final secret.
Firstly, like I said, you have to be passionate about something.
Right.
Definitely. That's what motivates you. You have to focus on the long-term goal, whether it is to feel healthy for the rest of your living life. I think it's to realize, and I say this with all respect, Lisa, and respect to everyone and what they believe in. By the grace of God, I live my life, because you know what? It's really, if I think, and I'm very grateful for what I've reached in my life, but if I think it's not me really. Do you really think it's me that could go through for 18 years? Yes, it's me, but I was blessed. It's really, so I have to say to it, even though it sounds a little bit like emotional, I'm really, really so full of gratitude. And like I said, it's not always easy. I also sometimes wake up and I'm really tired or lazy, and I just think what's going to make you happiest? When you just lay in bed here now, or you wake up and you grab life. And at the end of the day, people always say it very easily. It's much better than to sit in the office. Really think of that. It's much easier than if you're on your bike. Oh, wow. I'm on the bike, maybe a little pain, but where else would you want to be?
True.
So I'm really grateful that I can experience that. And health, to me, is one of the most amazing things of life that life can give you is really, and that is where nutrition also comes in, because you can't, it's not that nutrition can guarantee you health, but nutrition can make you feel good as you, if you give your body the right fuel, at least, and I'm talking about food and good nutrition, you can really make a difference where it can be much better than it would have been.
Right.
So when you want to be motivated to follow a good and healthy way of life, and doesn't mean you have to eat lettuce leaf only, think of, again, that long-term goal.
Right.
Every day when you wake up, you want to say, I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I love that.
Right? Yeah. And live while you're alive.
True story. True story. Well, you are the definition of living while you're alive. I really want to thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your inspiration and your service, not just to the cycling community, but community as a whole, and just really thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And again, know that you inspired me, listening to your podcast, talking to you now, and just feeling your soul. And I hope that one day, maybe, you never know, we can ride together.
You never know.
Thank you again, Lisa.
I hope you have been as inspired as I have on today's episode of Velo Dulce. Please share with a friend, rate on iTunes, and most importantly, get on your bicycle, grab a friend, drink some coffee, and here is to living Velo Dulce.